Welcome once again to the podcast. My name is Hamza, and I am going to walk you through a couple of things again today. Today we are going to look at some lessons we can learn from India as a developed country. I don't know, but there are lessons we can learn from them because economies are quite comparable. The standards of living for people that has been quite comparable to Africa and most African countries. We'll be exploring how they have been able to use healthcare to be able to really grow their economy and how much healthcare has actually contributed to the overall growth. So once again, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that now. Subscribe, like, share. Let people see the content, let people learn from it, and let's see how we can help each other grow. My name is Hamza once again, and this is the Think Clinical podcast. Jumping straight into it. So, we all know that India has one of the largest populations in the world. We have about 1.4 billion people in India. So that is already an indication that resources and resource allocation is going to be a problem. So there are a couple of economic issues that Indians face. There are a couple of economic issues that they face that are very, very similar to what we face in Africa. But Doctorpreneurs and doctors who have decided to go into entrepreneurship have really, over the last couple of years, stepped up to help grow the economy of India through various types of healthcare innovations and healthcare businesses. And we have people who have built huge healthcare businesses and have contributed huge resources and huge growth to the economy. Just to put this into context, right? Now, the healthcare business in India in 2020 was valued at about $130 billion. That's a lot of money. And this was money that was never in the system. And when you look at where they came from with that, there has been an increasing number of people in the middle class, first of all. And there's been an increased prevalence of diseases, just like we do have in Africa, right? So these two together increase demand for healthcare, because we have the people who can actually afford to pay for some healthcare, and we have a disease burden that is going up, which is also a common problem we have. So looking at this landscape and how much this has contributed to the economy, there should be lessons we can learn obviously from them. And I would walk you through just two of them that I think really stand out, that if we position ourselves well to be able to exploit, we should also be able to use healthcare and healthcare businesses to grow our economies and contribute to the economy. Now, one of the biggest things that India has been able to do as far as healthcare business is concerned is in medical tourism. And when I worked in Ghana in clinical practice, I have had the opportunity to work with a couple of Indian companies who were involved in medical tourism. So generally what they did was to come into countries where they didn't have the resources for the different things that different healthcare needs in the country, and most of these are in Africa. So they come into an African country and they look at all the deficiencies you have in your healthcare system. If it's specialty care, if it is a procedure that cannot be done, whatever the challenges. Now they open up their resources to the country in terms of human resources, in terms of the skill set, because you have a lot of people who are really skilled in clinical practice. They open you up to help you grow your business and open you to the business aspect of the arrangement they are trying to make with you. And then they are able to get people who will travel to India for healthcare. They're able to open and market themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, when you look at the medical tourism industry now, it's almost about $3 billion just for medical tourism alone. That's how much money they make in a year, just by getting people from underserved countries, countries that have limited resources in healthcare, coming into India to be able to get treatment. If we look at all this, what that means is that, first of all, this industry is going to grow. Now, the medical tourism industry that they are in now is going to grow to about $14 billion by the year 2026. This is huge. And this is going to contribute and even increase the 130 billion healthcare industry that is already in play now, or even more. When we put all these things together, then it's time we start reflecting back on how we can use the problems we have and the challenges we have to be able to create businesses that will also help us. Now, granted, India has a larger population, so there's a bigger need. 1.4 billion is a lot. First of all, the country in Africa with the highest population is Nigeria, which is barely about 220 million or plus. That's really low, just about 20% of population of India, right? Maybe if you look at Ethiopia, which is about 150 million, if I can remember it right, and a place like Egypt, which is about 102 million, we are nowhere close to the population of India. But if you look at Africa as a whole, we have the ability to build infrastructure within the continent that are able to serve the needs of people in other continents or other places who want to get some form of medical help. Now, one of the other big problems we have is that India has been able to churn out a lot of trainees, a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists. So they have a lot of healthcare providers that are available to meet the needs of the people, largely. Africa has a huge deficiency, very huge. One doctor in Africa will probably serve about 3,000 people, right? That's a lot. So when we do that comparison, one of the things that we can learn from this is to, first of all, improve training within the country that we have, churn out more medical doctors, more healthcare providers that will be able to take up that demand across Africa. Once we have that, increase the number of specialties or specialists we churn out, not just churning out any form of specialist, but making sure that we have more training institutions and more opportunities for doctors to go into residencies and try to get something done. Now, if we have that number, now it goes up to the point where we can now look at how doctors will transition. And that brings me to one of the things that we can do as a continent to be able to get ourselves the same opportunities that India has been able to explore from healthcare. So this is what I'm thinking. First of all, India faced real-world economic issues. And they used these economic issues to rewrite their narrative. And one of the group of people who really stood up and built the healthcare industry were doctors. So we had Doctorpreneurs in India who really stood up and built huge healthcare businesses with multiple hospitals, huge healthcare infrastructure, with the right kind of specialists and the right kind of services available. That's the first lesson. We need to step up. The doctor is the one person who, if he becomes experienced in business, is unstoppable. And I'll explain why. First of all, it's important to have both the clinical knowledge and to have the business knowledge. You need to be clinically smart and corporate smart to be able to. You need to find a balance between those two, where clinical work ends, where business ends. There shouldn't be too much of an interference with the two. And to be able to do that again, we need doctors who have more in-depth, or healthcare providers generally, who have more in-depth understanding of the clinical side of things. Have a good understanding of the business and how to run businesses and keep them sustainable. And finding that right blend of just churning out the best businesses that we can ever even imagine, right? So that's one of the things we as doctors need to step up. We need to get out of our comfort zone, our consult rooms, and look at the business opportunities that are out there that will bring value to the people, and then explore those. Now, the second step is that just like India is doing, our vision needs to extend beyond the country. So we need to, when we are conceptualizing principles, we are conceptualizing businesses, we need to think about how we can serve people beyond the boundaries of Ghana. And if we cannot do that, then we have no business running or starting anything. So basically, we need to look at the economic challenges we have, those real-world economic issues we have, step up as doctors or healthcare providers with the knowledge we have in the healthcare industry, go out there and build healthcare businesses with knowledge of how to keep them open, keep them sustainable, and grow them. And once we're able to do that, extend that service beyond the shores. It's as simple as that. We don't need any spreadsheets or any mathematical stuff to figure this out. So this is just a very short video on very important things that as we look around and we look at things that we can do, and we think about what our contributions could be as doctors. We should look at the story of India and what the doctors and healthcare businesses are doing there and how much they contribute to the country's economy. And let's use those lessons to build something for ourselves too. So again, this has been a very important episode that I think we should all be paying attention to moving forward. I think once we keep moving in the right direction as far as our knowledge base is concerned, we should be fine. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please remember to do so. Like and share the video, and I will see you in our next video somewhere. All right, have a good one.